presentations on this topic, and I was really kind of fascinated and was going through, even your journey from chemical engineering, your PhD, to, your all that 20 plus years experience in food industry and research and development. So it was really interesting. So I think our viewers will definitely have a, they will benefit from your advice. And we really feel like it's a very important issue these days, especially with the COVID going on, and immunity is something, and I feel our age group, that how the body ability to fight back diseases is reduced as we grow old. So I think my question would be, to begin with, can we reset it, or is there a way, how to we can support or enhance our immune system?
I think
So that topic, food and
second, Nina, before we start going into discussion, I would definitely like to bring in Dr. Gurmeet Singh to briefly describe exactly where he's involved, how he's involved with what, so the audience, the viewers who are listening to may be able to follow through. I mean, that's the way. Please,
okay.
Dr. Gurmeet Singh, go ahead, please. Brief description about you. Those to Dr. Gurmeet Singh on air. Go ahead.
Yeah. So firstly, thanks so much, Nina ji, for inviting me to this forum. And thank you, Dr. Nehmat, for
you're welcome,
this
Doctor.
forum. Really, happy to join this forum and engage with the community that you have built over so many years. So thanks a lot for this opportunity. And so a little bit about myself. As you said, I started my academics as a chemical engineer. I'm still a chemical engineer. I love solving chemical engineering problems. And I did my PhD in the US. Actually spent about 9 years in the US. Did my PhD from Penn State. I was a faculty there, assistant professor chemical engineering at Penn State University. Then moved to IIT Delhi and was a faculty of biochemical engineering there. I spent about 30 years researching plants in one way or the other, right? From growing them bioreactors to their medicinal uses and for processing for flavor, etc. So I think that's my area that I enjoy. 20 years researching tea. I also have a small startup company, a tea club that I run on tea called Infusions of Goodness. And I am a professor, as Neena ji mentioned, of Ayurveda, biology, and holistic nutrition. Nutrition is one of my passions, where I look at how do we reimagine India's health or the global health through food-first solutions. Right? So that's my passion. Yeah.
Very interesting. I can ask you a question, Doctor. You actually did your chemical engineering, right? And what inspired you? What made you go into this field where Ayurveda and other biochemical studies,
So I would say it was by accident. Everything in my life has been accident rather than a plan. Something popped up on the horizon that seemed interesting, and I stepped into it, right? And so whatever the field, I still apply my chemical engineering principles to it, principles of mass balance, energy balance, reactions, transformations. So I think it's, yeah.
That's very interesting. I mean, like understand when people do their medicine here, they jump into MBA, they jump into something else different. So they're trying to. That's very interesting to understand. Neena ji, please go ahead. Your question to.
My question was, can we reset our immune system at this age? I mean, we have heard about balanced diet when we were growing up back in India, and intentionally or unintentionally, that time the food was available, like fresh food, I would say, that fruits and vegetables. So we grew up, the other day I was hearing, even hamare ghar ke paas neem, as we say, my mothers have used that, and amla and all those, fruits. Even मुझे याद आ रहा green जो हम लोग खाते थे, उसका Indian name I'm remembering, but it used to be Singhara, we used to call the water chestnut. I think that's what it is. All those food was available जो यहाँ हमें अब नहीं दिखता. अमेरिका जब से हम आए हैं, कई चीजें जो इंडिया में हमें मिलती थी easily. So मुझे लगता है कि कहीं after coming here, I think our food habits have changed, and इतनी hectic life और busy life में हम लोग quick fix करने लगे, और जैसे कहते हैं ना outside ready made खाना ये वो, तो घर में भी cook करने का कई दफा time नहीं मिलता था. So I think habits change हो गई. So is there anything at this age you think the food habits, if we change, we can kind of improve our immunity?
Yeah, so I think a number of questions in there, and I'll try and break them apart and try and answer them. First of all, you mentioned at this age, I think it is never too late to start. So one should try and make this effort to change one's lifestyle, and simple steps so that it's easy. And now it's not a torture that we are looking at, it's easy steps. Because it's the small steps, small changes which add on a daily basis, which add up to big effects in life. So small is not, a big step is not what we are asking for. Small steps, but the daily part is extremely important, that we need to put them into practice, right? Into a ritual, into a daily ritual in some sense. So I always say that there are three parts to our health, the health approach. First is identifying what suits me, what I call as body typing, right? And figuring out, people may look at genomics, my genome, my microbiome, my prakriti, my BMI, body mass index, etc. All these are ways of trying to figure out my body type. The body type I'm born with, and my current, the prakriti and the vikruti, right? What I'm born with and what I have today. And we need to match our food and lifestyle to our body type somewhere. So there is no one fixed solution for everyone, right? We have had our nutrition science departments over the decades give population level guidances. हम बोलते हैं कि 2000 कैलोरी खाना चाहिए, इसमें 15% होना चाहिए, वो population level guidance है, 20 मिलीग्राम आयरन होना चाहिए. So population level guidances are good for overall policy. But when we come to कि मेरे लिए क्या सूट करता है, वहाँ पे थोड़ा पर्सनलाइजेशन का जरूरत पड़ता है. So the first step is understanding what's one's body type. And our traditional knowledge systems like Ayurveda laid emphasis on that, right? It says Prakriti-based diet, right? Prakriti-based lifestyle, which is more personalized, more individualized. So first step is figuring out one's needs, right? Individual needs. The second step is now identifying practices which need to be done, right? क्या खाना चाहिए, और क्या व्यवहार चाहिए, क्या योगा चाहिए, क्या एक्सरसाइज चाहिए, right? कितना कैसा sleeping pattern चाहिए. So what are the practices that I should try and follow? And the third step, the most important step, is the ritualization part, so the behavior part. How do I adopt those practices in my daily life? What is called as, in traditional texts, you could call them as ritucharya and dinacharya, no? Seasonal behavior and daily, right, regimen. So the three things are important, right? Equal importance for all three things. So never too late, as I said, small steps. But clearly, the sooner one starts, the better it is, right? So having said that, it's never too late. But also, if there's any young person on the audience, the earlier one starts, the better it is. No, there is very, very strong evidence to suggest that some of the things, right? No, even pre-birth, abhi to bolte hain, and immediately the first 6 months, first 2 years after birth, the kind of things we eat have a clear-cut impact on our biology and what will happen later on. So the earlier we start, right, is better, right?
Yeah. So I always feel like at home also, बच्चों के लिए हम लोगों को चेंज होना पड़ता है to teach them. जैसे कहते हैं आप घर में वही फूड रखें और वैसा ही फूड प्रोवाइड करें जो you think it's healthy for them. So I think then they pick up easily. You agree with that? No? I think first we have to, as a parent, change to teach our children.
I think it works both ways. In the sense, we have to teach our children, but our children are getting messages from many more sources than we do. So they bring a lot of good practices in home as well, right? And try and fix our practice. So I think communication has to be both ways, and if it is both ways, both sides will learn easily. If just us telling our children, even
Doesn't
maybe just
work.
a model will not necessarily be at them. So we
Yes.
also need to pick up on that.
Yeah, definitely. I always say I always learn from children. Yes. Dr. Nehmat, you have a question? You can go.
Now, we are talking about two things here, right? Doctor has also specialized in Ayurveda, doctor, right? And you're talking
Yeah.
on foods. So Ayurveda is more plant-based, I guess, right? And then food is something we eat. So there is interconnection between these two?
Yeah, so number one, I think this is this is that Ayurveda is plant-based.
Gee.
Ayurveda has chapters and chapters, even right from the first book, Charaka. He's described so many different kinds of meats in there. So Ayurveda has nothing to do with vegetarianism. There are a huge number of, actually about 20-30% of the foods in there are non-vegetarian foods, in Ayurveda.
Are you really?
So, yes.
Non-veg food in
And it
Ayurveda or
describes
something?
all sorts of meats that we do not eat today are described in Ayurveda.
Gee.
So, Ayurveda, in fact, one of the 11, so Ayurveda Charaka Samhita, which is the first book, right? And Acharya Charaka in his book mentions 11 foods or 11 things that we should have daily, that can be had daily. So, it's not that everything else should not be had, but everything else should be rotated. So you should not be having, say, bhindi every day, for example. तो भिंडी एक बार खाया, छोले एक बार खाए, पर आटा, गेहूं, चावल, barley, honey, milk, और उसमें one of those 11 things is meat, right? Which can be had on a daily basis. The meat of arid animals, which is probably more popular there than things that we consume today. That can be had on a daily basis. So people confuse Ayurveda with vegetarianism. It has nothing to do with that. Right?
Oh my God, you cleared it so clear now, right? Nina, listening to it? Okay.
Yes, I am, because somehow हम लोगों को भी, when we were growing up, we would say कि आप egg जरूर ले, protein, animal protein. It was a must kind of. यहाँ आके हम लोग more vegetarian बन गए. तो अभी I was going to, next question was like that कि which one is better, animal protein ki plant based? And I think you are doing research on that too, on the plant based protein.
And before the doctor, 1 second, doctor, before you go, in adjunct to Nina's question is, in your research, doctor, have you also found out the death rate between a non-veg and a veg human being? So continue.
Sorry, what?
The death rate. I mean, people who are non-vegetarian die faster than vegetarians?
No, we haven't found that. I mean, I've not studied that, so I would not have that kind of a data.
Okay.
But really, I mean, I have written a popular article on food and evolution, right? Human evolution in some way, right? There is an interesting thing that our human evolution में एक चीज जो बहुत dramatic है is or two things which are very dramatic, right? One of them is the size of our brain, right? Over the last few million years, our size of the brain has gone from about 200 grams or 200 ml, कह सकते हैं एक कप चाय से about 7 cups of chai, about 1400-1500 ml हो गया,
shrunk,
1.5 liter,
gone smaller.
So, no, इतना बढ़ गया.
अच्छा, oh my God, okay.
7 कप चाय के बराबर है हमारा दिमाग.
अच्छा.
And it uses a lot of energy, right? It uses, uska weight is only 2% of the body, but it uses 20% of the energy of the body. So it's a very energy intensive organ.
अच्छा.
So ये energy कहाँ से आया? अगर इतना energy support करना है for a body of our size, 60 kgs, let us say, हमें दिन में 12-13 घंटे खाना खाना पड़ेगा.
Correct.
Which is what a panda does, for example. No, आप पांडा का देखेंगे, जायंट पांडा पेड़ पे बैठा हुआ, एक ही जगह बैठा हुआ दिन भर खाया जा रहा है, right? क्योंकि उसको उतना चाहिए उस साइज के बॉडी के लिए. But because we had a bigger brain, we could figure out a few things which are energy intensive, right? Diet. पहले तो हमारा fruits and vegetables diet था, millions of years ago की बात कर रहा हूँ, right? उससे इतना बड़ा दिमाग नहीं हो सकता था. तो जैसे दिमाग आना शुरू हुआ, we figured out कि भैया हमारे को तो कम टाइम चाहिए खाने के लिए, more energy dense food चाहिए. And two main things that we invented was, one was grains entered our diet because we could now pound grains, so we could make instruments or equipment to grind grains. No, हथौड़े बना सकते थे पीसने के लिए, because that is required, otherwise we can't. दूसरा is sliced meat, कि मीट को काट सकते थे thin so that चबा के झटपट चबा के खा सकते हैं. These are two energy intensive foods that we discovered tens of thousands of years ago, and they became part of our diet. So when people talk about fast food, I say in some sense, or food hacks, I say in some sense that is a evolutionary. How do we make food more and more convenient, more and more energy dense, right? Is evolutionary built into it. It is not wrong. What has happened is that we have now are living way longer than we were. If our average age at 1900, right? So 120 years ago, the average age of humans was 35 years.
Oh,
Right?
I didn't know.
Today is, so yeah, it's not long ago, right? 1900 में अगर पैदा हुआ तो 35 साल ही जी रहा था on an average, right? There are of course some most people on an average living 35 years. Right? 35 साल तक जीना है तो मैं कुछ भी खा सकता हूँ, मुझे कोई प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं होगा लाइफ में. पर प्रॉब्लम शुरू होता है कि मेरे को 70 साल अभी जी रहा हूँ मैं, तो 70 साल जी रहा हूँ तो जो 35 साल तक खा रहा हूँ, that will start affecting me when I become 40-50 years old.
जी.
So the whole issue is now कि because I'm living longer, what I'm eating is becoming more important. पहले तो I just needed to focus on energy and I didn't need to bother about, right, कि सब चीजें मतलब सैचुरेटेड फैट में भी बनी है तो भी कोई इशू नहीं होने वाला आपको 35 साल तक, right? So
Wow, that's interesting, doctor.
problems are because we are living longer, we'll solve them.
Okay.
Right? And just maligning कि food junk है या ये है is not the answer. I think the answer, I say there are 5 principles that I advocate, right? And I'm writing a book also in this. And part of my Infusions of Goodness, my tea club that I run, I work on this kind of a philosophy, right? 5 principles for food. One is the principle of moderation. जो भी खाए moderation में खाए.
जी.
Right? तो फास्ट फूड भी खाए तो मॉडरेशन में फिक्स योर फ्रीक्वेंसी है ना, वेदर इट इज वंस अ वीक और वंस अ मंथ, जो भी है आपको सूट करता है, यू फिक्स अ फ्रीक्वेंसी एंड रोटेट. सो फर्स्ट इज डाइवर्स, दिस थिंग अबाउट मॉडरेशन. सेकंड इज डाइवर्सिटी. हैव अ लॉट ऑफ डाइवर्स थिंग्स. अगर आप व्हीट खा रहे हैं, रोटी खा रहे हैं, तो हर मील पे रोटी नहीं हो. At least put, if you are eating 2 grains say in a week, कि आपका खाना में ज़्यादातर wheat and rice है, I would say try and add a third one sometimes, right, on a weekly basis.
अच्छा.
Then add a fourth, then add a fifth one. कभी जवार की रोटी खा ली, कभी बाजरे की खा ली, कभी रागी की खा ली, कभी मेज की खा ली, right? Whatever grains are available to you. Neena ji mentioned early on कि हमारा diet बदल गया because some of the things which are available in India are not available in the US. But US में भी बहुत सारी चीजें मिलती हैं, फर्क चीजें मिलती होंगी, बट बहुत फर्क चीजें मिलती हैं. इंक्लूड दैट डाइवर्सिटी इन योर डाइट. So that principle of diversity, there's a lot of scientific evidence that the more diverse your diet, right, the more different vegetables that you are eating, the more different fruits that you're eating. So somebody who's eating just santra and thinks कि मेरा vitamin C हो गया, versus 5 different citrus foods with the same amount of servings, right? The person who has a diverse diet is going to be better off, right? Is the rule. So diversity is the second rule, I would say. The third I call the rule of selection, which is that eat things which suit you, it suit your body type, right? In some sense, for which you have to be a little more mindful of what we are eating, कि मेरे को क्या सूट करता है, क्या नहीं करता है. कई लोगों को फॉर एग्जांपल वीट नहीं सूट करता, राइट, मे बी बायोलॉजिकली नहीं सूट करता, तो ट्राई एंड मिनिमाइज दैट एंड गो टू. हम सब बच्चों को दूध पिलाते रहते हैं, राइट, अंधाधुन की ये अच्छी चीज है. अगर नहीं सूट करता किसी को तो डोंट स्ट्रेस देयर बॉडी विद मिल्क. इफ दे हैव लैक्टोज इंटॉलरेंस, वी डोंट रियलाइज इट, राइट, स्पेशली इन अ कंट्री लाइक इंडिया. वी फोर्स पीपल टू हैव थिंग्स. Listen to people's bodies, and if you have the time and the inclination, try and understand the body type through whatever analysis that you wish to. Traditional sciences, modern sciences said genomics and prakriti. There are ways of understanding your body and reaction, and your audience is open to contacting me and having one-on-one discussion as well. if they want to for
Definitely,
any
we can do that.
guidance.
Yes. So
Yes.
I would suggest people who are watching, please, if you'd like to ask any question to the doctor, you can call us on WhatsApp +19178820346. Before you proceed to the next one, Dr. Singh, I would like to
I
ask.
just wanted to complete that. कि मैंने अभी 3 वो बोले थे, बाकी 2 भी बता देता हूँ.
Okay, please go ahead.
One is the principle. The fourth is the principle of avoidance, right? Things that we should try and avoid or minimize, right? Which is salt and saturated fats, etc. Whatever has been told in the current context and largely based on our special needs, है ना कि मतलब मेरा ये अगर state है तो कई चीजें तो बिल्कुल ही avoid करनी चाहिए, तो वो भी जरूरी है.
अच्छा.
Then the principle of preference, right? कि मेरा taste क्या है? It will not form a habit unless I like it, right? So preference का है. And the last one, which becomes the sixth principle, I call the principle of top-ups, right? In spite of all of these things, today's diet and availability, there are some things in my diet, if I follow the RDA guidelines by today's nutrition scientists, right? So USDA, for example, says कि इतना milligrams of vitamin or इतना microgram of vitamin चाहिए. And if I do the analysis of my diet, no matter what I do, some things like vitamin B12, vitamin D, zinc are always going to be missing no matter what I try, because I don't eat or omega-3 fatty acids, right? I don't eat much of fish, etc. So वहाँ पे देखना चाहिए पहले food first में क्या changes कर सकता हूँ, and if not, then maybe supplements could be tried, right? Though I'm not a very big fan of supplements, but I think we should follow modern science as well.
Right. Okay. I have a couple of questions, Dr. Singh. One is, in your study, as far as the research is concerned, is there anything that prehistoric people were eating raw or they were eating cooked food, number one? Number two, most of us are lay people because you're a scientist, I mean, you're a doctor, you've gone through that. So most of us, no idea, we are eating so many composite kind of foods together at one particular time. And we don't know which food is bugging us, which food we should avoid. So how do we try to address that problem as far as a layman is concerned? Huh?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so firstly, were we eating raw or cooked? Of course, if you look prehistoric, so it's still recent, 5, 6, 10,000 years.
Gee.
But even before that, if you look at evolutionary, we started off, Homo sapiens, we started off as fruit eaters and things, uncooked. And then we discovered to control fire and we started cooking.
Right.
That was a step forward and it freed up time. As I said, our evolutionary, if you look at, has been about how do we free up our time, right? So from 8-10 घंटे जो food चबाने में लगते थे, we've cut it down now because of fire and slicing meat and grinding grain. We've cut it down to about, I think, 2 घंटे से ज़्यादा कोई नहीं time बिताता खाने में और चबाने में, right?
True.
If you add all the meals together. तो वो जो 6-8 घंटे time spare हुआ, that's the time we use to create stories in our mind and new ideas in our mind. And our whole challenge today is that our societal evolution, right, has gone way beyond, is way quicker than our biological evolution. Right? Biology तो बहुत धीरे-धीरे बदलती है, but because we have a very active brain and a lot of time to do that, our societal evolution is happening at a 10x speed compared to our 100x speed compared to our biological evolution.
Gee.
So that's the big challenge. Yeah.
Okay, Nina, you have a question for the doctor?
Yeah, I was saying कि immunity के ऊपर ही कि जब COVID vaccine हम सब ने ली, तो it came out कि जैसे for my age group, people had no immunity और हमको ऐसा reaction नहीं हुआ जो कि younger 40s, 50s में हमसे जो young थे उनको हुआ. उनको 48 hours minimum chills और कुछ ना कुछ हर मेडिसिन से चाहे वो कोई भी उन्होंने ली, पर हम लोगों को कम हुआ. तो किसी ने बोला ओ elderly people they have less immunity, तो उनका reaction कम हुआ. Is that true?
Yeah, so I think in general that happens, right? That every bodily function with age slows down a little, right? And immunity is actually a very, very complex, one of the most complex functions, right? It is what decides what am I versus what is everything else, right? That's the job. To my identity, if you look here, it's decided by my immune system. It has things like the skin, right, which creates a barrier. It has what something called the innate immunity, which is foreign, उसको destroy करना है. And then it has the adaptive immunity कि कई चीजों को पहचान लेता है, memory बना लेता है, so that my next time response is faster. In a certain way, I mean, I look at food. Food is a paradox, right? In some sense, why is it a paradox? Because food is foreign. I'm putting something which is foreign into my body every day. So my body thinks of it. This is foreign. इसको तो मुझे निकालना ही है, right? किसी भी तरीके से. So paradox because बगैर खाए इंसान मर जाएगा. So it is a necessity, but it is also foreign. So part of my body is designed to incorporate it, and then part my body is कि भैया ये तो toxic है, इसको कैसे झट से बाहर निकालो. So liver, for example, its function is anything which comes, I need to just chuck it out, right? So it coordinates, it makes it water soluble, so that kidneys में बाहर फेंका जा सकता है immediately, right? So that's why food is a paradox. But yeah, as we age, all functions of our body need support, slow down a little bit. And so a mindful living certainly helps body. So you said that what can we do to keep our strength up? I think simple principles, as I said, I mean, these principles of, I was speaking about the moderation, the diversity, etc., the selection, the avoidance, the preference, the top-ups. So they certainly help, right? And things like making sure that our daily diet में ऐसी चीजें नहीं है जो ज़्यादा inflammation. I mentioned a few things, right? That wheat, rice, barley, milk, amla is one of those 11 things, right? Which we should have, which Charaka Samhita mentioned. And I'm sure there are a lot of other fruits, vegetables as well. Amla is from whatever was available in the region. But amla is certainly one of the foods which Charaka suggests to have on a daily basis. One more way of looking at a balanced diet is through the taste, right? Rasa ke hisab se. You should have 6 rasas in your daily diet, which are you should have sweet foods, you should have amla, madhur, amla, lavan, tikta, kashaya, kattu, which is sweet, sour, salt, then bitter, astringent, and pungent, right? So these foods. अभी sweet तो enough मिल जाता है, carbohydrates, I said wheat, rice वगैरह सब चीजों में carbohydrates होते हैं, चीनी itself मीठी होती है. So we have hardly any, none of us have any problem with having madhur foods in our diet. Similarly, amla, I think all of us typically have enough sour things in our diet. Nimbu hai, citrus fruits hai. So a lot of sour foods in our diet. They become important because sour foods ensure that the minerals from other things is solubilized in a form and can be taken up, right? That becomes important from that perspective. नहीं तो minerals खाए, इसीलिए salads पे आप नींबू डालेंगे या vinegar डालेंगे to make it sour, because otherwise the minerals in those things, I mean, I say that for me the definition of junk is any food can be junk, because if unless our body absorbs it, so to make even the good foods can become junk unless you are biting them or chewing them 32 times, you are including the right ingredient, food pairing जिसको बोलते हैं, right, with the right thing. So that's why आप पेपर डालते हैं सैलड पे, आप नींबू डालते हैं, so the absorption is better, right, in that sense. And that's how dressings have also evolved to improve.
I have another question, Nina, before. Yes, go ahead, doctor.
I was saying that two things which are missing in our diet today and we should focus a little bit more on are the food groups in the bitter side, and the last one being the kattu side or the pungent side, right? So bitters have gone down in our diet over the last 30-40 years. Nina ji, you mentioned saying that you remember your parents or grandparents eating neem leaves or chewing neem leaves, right, every day.
They used to give us.
पर अभी हमारा bitter बहुत कम हो गया.
I said they used to give us.
What are the bitters and try and yes, correct. My memory is also of my Dadaji of going to the neem tree with me. I was 2-3 years old probably, and walking with him. First thing in the morning, he would go to a neem tree and थोड़े नीम के पत्ते चबाते थे, and फिर दातुन करते थे, right? Yeah. और अभी तो वो bitters तो खत्म ही हो गया almost हमारे time. दूसरा कट्टू, which is pungent or things which are rich in essential oils. वो इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ कि though we are eating a lot of spices, a lot of our spices are not freshly ground anymore, and so by the time they come to us, उनका essential oil level बहुत कम हो गया होता है. So having fresh herbs wherever possible and fresher spices, home ground spices is a good way to improve the essential oils, in your diet. But bitters is the one group I find has gone down quite dramatically in our times. So,
Great. For the body to build up the immune system, doctor, I mean, like we eat a combination of cooked and uncooked food. So is there any difference to build up the immunity? A particular type of food is essential to really boost the body's immunity.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say cooked or uncooked mein itna hai, but I would look at, first of all, I think probably the number one association with immunity is malnutrition. But I'm guessing none of us in this audience suffers from malnutrition per se. But globally, though, there are 2 billion people who are malnutrition hai. So that's a massive 1/3 of population suffers from immunity because of malnutrition. The second part is nutritional deficiencies, right? Which many of us, though we have enough money in our pockets, we suffer from nutritional deficiencies in our diet because of imbalances. And I mentioned nutritional deficiencies from both perspectives, right? In the modern sense, which is vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin B6, B12, vitamin D, zinc, copper, selenium, iron. These are some of the important micronutrients related with immune health. And if possible, get some of these levels checked. I have a very good diet. And I live in a very sunny country, but my levels are always half of what they should be, no matter what I try and do. So I do have vitamin C capsules and try and pack my diet with vitamin D food. Try and go out in the sun. So having a walk in the sun, right, 10, 15 minutes, wearing a t-shirt so that some of your arms are exposed, maybe wearing a shorts ki aapka skin thoda exposed is very key. And also especially important for, I think, these blood chemistry checks and vitamin levels for Indians who have moved from, or for anybody who's moved from one country or one geography to another, right? So Indians in the US, that's the prime audience, should definitely try and get their vitamin levels checked, right? And see if there are any deficiencies. And early on, I would say that people, when they move, first 3, 4, 5 years, they should be regularly checking in their annual checkup. Vitamin levels kitne hain, thoda sa paisa extra lagta hai, few dollars more, but it becomes important. A lot of Indians, when they move, have this issue of climate badal jata hai, sunlight badal jata hai, so many changes which we don't realize which affect our systems, and so we need to adapt our diet and lifestyle to that.
आप डॉक्टर साहब आप बता रहे थे कि you are not a proponent or you are not much a fan of taking vitamins, the commercially produced vitamins. So how would a layman would know what essential vitamins are present in a natural food, so that they don't have to really depend on, because the pharmaceutical industry is trying to promote as much as possible the chemical stuff what they're trying to make. So essentially, if we could advise generally people who are watching कि essential food A, B, C, D जो भी vitamins हैं, A, D जो है या vitamin B. So basically few foods में अगर होते हैं, तो if they could consume that, they'll be able to meet the required vitamin level for individual.
Yeah. So I mean, what I will say is, पहली चीज why do I say that I prefer food first solutions over supplements? So I'm not against supplements. I think that's the second resort. The first has to be food first solutions. Why do I say that? Because a number of scientific studies which say, even for a simple thing like vitamin C, that people who consume through foods are more healthier than those who consume it as such. So the effect of, in controlled studies, when vitamin C is given as a food versus as a supplement, the food seems to have a bigger impact. So food first solution makes and holds true for pretty much every other micronutrient as well. So it's I say food first. Second, where will I find the information today? The net is a good source, right, of information, and there are some very good sites. Harvard Health is a good size. Mayo Clinic का site है. So you get USDA का site है. So you get some good recommendations. You get local recommendations, right, from those sites as to the foods which are available in your geography and what you should pack in your diet for whatever. If possible, get blood chemistry checks done, right, in your annual health checkup. की vitamin levels भी check कीजिए. At least for the main deficiency,
Okay.
vitamin D, vitamin B6, B12.
But
तो ये तो हो जाती हैं, right? So add that to your annual health.
Okay. Another question, Dr. Nina, 1 second. Just after that, you can come to the question. अब जो बात करें हम लोग, people who are educated, who, as you said, who are socially, economically, are better off, can do these things. But half the population of the world is below poverty line. So you think it's essential for the government to initiate some kind of a program that they should take care of the people's problems as much as they could have the blood test annually, just to make sure they also are taken care of. That means if people who are affluent, they have no problem getting things done because they can go to the doctors, they can get everything done. But people who are in the villages, who are not educated, literates, they are also part of the human society. So you think the responsibility of any government of any country to take care of them as well, to understand what we are talking? Oh, this is the problem.
Yeah,
Internet?
so governments do that.
इंटरनेट ब्रेक हो रहा है शायद.
For example,
नीना इंटरनेट ब्रेक हो रहा है, राइट? There's a disrupt internet.
Yeah, we can hear him, but
He's frozen. Internet problem hai, as usual.
yeah, picture is
I
frozen.
mean, the
but
audio
we
is
can-
not coming out.
you hear me now?
See, something went wrong. Those who just wait, we're going to reconnect to the doctor. As usual, we always face this problem back home in India. I mean, I don't know any continuity. Unfortunately, we experience this problem whenever we have people talking from India. I
Yeah.
guess. Okay. तो इंटरनेट प्रॉब्लम थोड़ा हो गया शायद, राइट डॉक? ये फ्रोजन नाउ. Can you hear us? So we should definitely look into this, how we can resolve this internet connection from back home. Okay. Any thoughts, Nina, on this? How we should really...
Yeah.
He's totally...
About the internet, you say?
yeah, but he's totally frozen
Seems to
now.
have
So,
gone down a bit. No?
Yeah. No, I was thinking.
it needs to have immunity also developed with the internet there. No? It's not... It's a frequent breakdown. Hota. Usually people, even when other calls also, we have this problem, remember? So suddenly gets frozen.
Is this better?
Yeah, now you're back now.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Yeah.
He's saying internet की भी immunity हमको boost करनी है.
Especially back home की immunity.
India में.
See, again it's going. There's definitely
Yeah.
something wrong, you know. I don't know how we should do this.
I was going to ask him about what tea can do. I think he's been referred to as a tea scientist also, and he started his own. He
Yes.
was mentioning about.
Go ahead. Can you hear us, doctor?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Do you-
Yeah, so I mean, I'm a big fan of tea. I think if you're having 3 cups of tea a day, you should start having 4 cups of tea. एक ले रहे हैं तो 2 कप बढ़ा लीजिए.
Okay.
अलग-अलग type की चाय पीजिए. Have black tea, have green tea. Sugar is of course something to be minimized. So if you can have a tea without sugar, that's great. And in my tea club, I try and encourage people to drink tea without. So I create delightful blends, which are delightful even without the need for adding sugar, right, to them. And tea is also a very good carrier of other botanicals, right? So I'm a great believer in botanicals and the phytochemicals they bring, and infusions may those herbs, spices, fruit, etc. can be added very easily, right?
Okay. I think
But it has a number of
yes. Go ahead, doctor.
yeah. I think a number of lot of research going on the health benefits of tea. right from cardiovascular health to diabetes to brain health to digestive health. So I think it's a good habit to inculcate.
Tea with
To
milk,
set-
tea without milk. Tea
yeah,
with milk.
tea without milk. I mean, I wouldn't. आपको दिन में 2 बार दूध और चाय चाहिए. जैसे चाय चाहिए अपनी हमारी morning. My morning and evening tea is our
Essential.
regular chai, right?
Okay, okay.
With milk as well.
Okay.
But rest of the day I sip tea without milk. Yeah.
Okay. One question I'm just going to ask you, besides what we're talking about the science, do you experience, doctor, this kind of a thing, internet kind of breakdown when you're in conference on Zoom with various associations since the COVID is going on, lockdowns में, especially back home में जो आते हैं, तो suddenly the internet gets kind of, as Nina was saying, immunity down हो जाती है. So उसको आप, do you experience same thing? With other discussions also?
Yeah, certainly after
very intermittent freeze हो रहे हैं आप.
2020, the internet issues have increased. Yeah, I think usage has increased and bandwidth has probably not kept up. But yeah.
So would you suggest
we'll
something? Would you suggest something how we could really boost the immunity for internet now to make it more continuous running? Because interruption होता है तो obviously get. No, we are serious. We will put some invest
I guess
some.
we need to pay for more.
We can invest some money in that. So just want to make sure discussion लोग watch करते हैं तो obviously interruption tries to get a little bit out of disrupt हो जा रहा है. So if we could do something from here, so you suggest some ideas to make your.
Within India, maybe it's not a problem. Within India, maybe it's not a problem.
नहीं, it's the internet problem India में भी. From wherever it is.
Yeah, नहीं problem तो हर जगह ही है.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
I can try going, if it is still a problem, I'll try going on my personal hotspot to phone ke through, maybe that is better.
Achha.
Is it okay right now?
Yeah, right now it's coming okay. Yeah, right now it's coming
good.
okay. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we have couple of people. We have couple of people watching. Dosto, we are talking about food and immunity here. If you have any question for Dr. Gurmeet Singh, please you can call us on WhatsApp number +191 7882 0346. Any question, the doctor will be very delighted to answer the question. All right, Nina, go ahead, please, Nina.
No, I was going to ask him about that. I said I heard about that being a tea scientist. They referred you. So आप कह रहे थे कि आपने कुछ न्यू स्टार्ट की अपनी कंपनी, तो क्या उसके बारे में बताएंगे कुछ?
Yeah. So what I do is it's called Infusions of Goodness, and it's a tea subscription club. People who join, I send them 3 different types of teas every 5-6 weeks. And so over the whole period of subscription, which is about a year and a half, they get to try 30 different tea blends, tea and botanical blends. And it's a journey in the sense that one of the blends is, the base blend is what I call as a harmony blend, which is tea and Ayurvedic botanicals mixed together. That's some focus of health in it. Once the body is healthy, you require a mind. So the second blend is, I call it experiments with tea to try out new flavors, new ingredients, etc. Once you have a healthy mind, harmony, once you have a stimulated mind, which is called Rhapsody. The third is a blend which is more towards refinement, because that's the ultimate goal I feel in life, right? Every day I go to sleep, I am hoping when I go to bed that I'm a little more refined as an individual compared to when I got up in the morning. So that's the laddering up of harmony, which is a healthy, balanced body, a stimulated mind, which is Rhapsody, and then the classic. So the 3 teas are, one is a harmony blend, one is a Rhapsody blend, and the third is a classic blend. And they are embodiments of this philosophy of the 3 things that we need, the 3 basic needs of our as an individual.
So you have set
Do
up.
you have a website? Do you have a website we can see?
Yeah. I have a website. It is partially done, but it can be visited. It's called IOGT. IOG is the short, Infusions of Goodness. IOG and TEA. IOGTEA. IOGT.com.
Okay.
Yeah. But you have a set of volunteers, doctor, who you study. I mean, so often every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they come to really, you note them and do their kind of a data on that research study?
For my research, I do a lot of, through the university, yes, we do a lot of food-based studies,
Okay.
clinicals, where we engage with people and study their food habits, suggest changes, etc. Right? Special focus on iron deficiency anemia, on type 2 diabetes, on and on areas of interest, and personalized nutrition.
All right. Okay. Dosto,
Yeah.
if you have any question, you can please call us on WhatsApp number before you wind up, +19178820346. If you have any question regarding foods and immunity, you can call up in the next minute or so before we wind up tonight's program. All right, go ahead, Nina. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I think I didn't mention about the food allergies because हमको when I was in India हमको ये भी नहीं ऐसा नहीं पता था इतना food allergies के बारे में. In fact, I was in the office first time. I was eating an orange. I started sneezing. So the other girl tells me, "Oh, you are allergic to orange." I said, "मैं तो इतने साल से खाती आ रही हूँ orange. मुझे तो नहीं कुछ allergy. नहीं, तुझे orange से allergy है." I said, "Okay, होगी." तो I was thinking के food allergies यहाँ आके हमको ज़्यादा conscious हुए, बताया भी ये नहीं खाएं, वो नहीं खाएं. I said, इंडिया में हम सब कुछ खा लेते थे, हमें पता ही नहीं चलता था किस चीज से एलर्जी है और किस से नहीं है. So I think over here probably people are more conscious और फिर वो allergy के injections लगवाते हैं.
I think Nina, people are more like doctors या Google doctors बहुत हैं यहाँ पे. So India में more scientists हैं यहाँ के. Everybody is a doctor here, Google doctor.
So which is dangerous.
That's what I'm saying. Your co-worker is a doctor too, Sheeti. Go ahead, doctor. Your thoughts on that?
So I mean, allergies seem to be increasing for whatever reason. There are many different hypotheses for that. I think no real answer available as of today. What's the reason? Maybe something has to do with the diet or the environmental changes that are happening around us. But I think, as I said, the important thing is that we have to be mindful of our allergies, because allergies create stress in the body if we keep consuming things that we are allergic to, and try and figure out what we are allergic to and reduce those, or eliminate those from our diet.
Okay. Nina, as we go down the road, the topics down the road, as we try to arrange some programs, we can also talk about few things like effects of food on anxiety, on other mental situations, I mean like a cardiovascular situation. So food has got any indirect or direct implication on those stuff also we can discuss with the doctor as we go down further in our study. Go ahead please, Nina. She's got a question here. I have a question. How you treat iron deficiency, chronic anemia, iron deficiency? Doctor, is a question.
Iron deficiency, what my research is looking at, most research in the world, the treatment for iron deficiency anemia largely has been iron supplements, right? You give a capsule, 100 milligrams of iron, etc. About 50% of pregnant women in India are iron deficient, right, at that stage. And iron deficiency leads to has huge impact on development of children, right? Brain health, physical attributes, etc. So governments have been trying to tackle that largely through supplements. What I'm looking at is that our body needs only about 1 milligram of iron every day. To give that 1 milligram of iron, we are suggested to have 20 milligrams of iron in our diet. Wow. That's because iron absorption is very poor. Only 5% of the iron that I'm putting in my mouth through food is getting absorbed by the body. Non-vegetarians will not have too much of a problem because they 20% of absorption of iron from non-vegetarian food. From vegetarian food,
oh, we are frozen.
Natural iron more absorbable. Bioavailability of natural iron, and trying to
friends, we are sorry for that. We have some internet problem there. It's getting frozen. So we are trying our best to get this going for the next few minutes, and then okay.
So it's equally important, I think, people who eat non-veg, they are in some way beneficial.
I think totally frozen ho gaya.
Yeah, in some way advantageous. In other ways, I mean, there is vegan diets are much better when it comes to chronic diseases, etc. So I think, as I said, I would follow.
We can go back to moderation, the way you said.
Rotation. Yes, correct.
Rotation and moderation, I think both are good. Yeah.
Okay. What I'm suggesting, Nina, to have a continuity of this thing, if I could call the doctor on his phone number, so to his landline or mobile phone, through our phone. So in other words, Zoom sometimes it gives problems. Skype gives some problem because audio video goes there. We can just have the image there, but he can talk over the phone, landline or mobile phone, not on WhatsApp, regular line. Will that help in future? Because continuity of the discussion is paramount, I think, for people who are watching here, so they don't miss the essential instructions we are talking about with the doctor, you know? Right?
We can try that too, but yeah.
That because you know what I'm trying to say, Zoom, as you said.
I'll try my personal hotspot rather than using the Wi-Fi. Maybe that will be better.
Yes, a data plan could be much better, doctor. Yes, Wi-Fi is always a problem because घर पे कोई और use करता है तो drain होती Wi-Fi also. You know, obviously you're right.
Right.
If you switch data plan, I mean that makes it much cooler because that's a very good idea. So if you want to try that to switch data plan, maybe.
I'll do that next time.
Yeah, दोस्तों just bear with us few.
So next time I'll do that. अभी तो ये call तो खत्म हो गया almost.
अच्छा.
आज का.
Okay.
Next time I'll do my date.
Okay. All right, Nina, you want to wind up the program for today?
Yes, I mean, it is helpful, and I'm sure other people, if they join also and ask questions directly to the doctor, I think would be very helpful and informative. And Dr. Namath, I have to thank you for giving us that platform so we could discuss with Dr. Gurmeet Singh. And to thank you, first of all, to you also, Dr. Singh, because with a short notice, with such a short notice, you were able to come and join us on this forum. And thank you so much for that. And hopefully we'll meet again soon. And we'll have, as he said, Dr. Namath, another topic about the food and how it affects our anxiety. That's another thing. Some foods do create... it's
also Nina, we can try to work through the phone itself directly because there's less of a lag there, less of kind of interruption, less of freezing, I think, less of freezing. So phone is very clear,
Yes, phone is clear, and maybe as he said, maybe try one time the hotspot.
Data plan.
Sometimes, the Wi-Fi say hotspot.
Yes, very unstable.
So we can try that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much,
so
Doctor.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Can you hear us? Thank you, Dr. Gurmeet Singh. Hello? Yeah, it's frozen.
Yeah, probably he can hear us. That's what he was saying. He can hear us.
No, he cannot hear because freeze ho gaya na.
Yes, he can hear us. Thank you so much, Dr. Singh. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And thank you, our viewers, for listening to our forum.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Nina. All right, so I'm going to, that's it. Okay, very good.
Okay.